Welcome to Caring for the Caregiver. This lesson is designed to help you identify what you need to ensure you maintain your quality of life by paying close attention to your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. As a caregiver, we are very focused on taking care of our loved one and making sure we do what we can to follow the care path as directed by a doctor or healthcare provider. We are dutiful in managing medications, nutrition, sleep, exercise. The list goes on and on, and we monitor any changes that occur to ensure the right adjustments are made. The key question we'll explore in this lesson is what strategy should you build into your routine to ensure the best quality of life while caring for a loved one? Throughout this lesson, our goals are to do the following: to understand why self care is so important as a caregiver, to create a routine that includes protecting your emotional, your mental, physical, and spiritual health, to recognize when to step away and recharge or consider respite. Let's start with an example. Prior to my husband's diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's, I was doing a pretty good job of working out, watching my nutrition, getting enough rest, socializing with friends, attending church, and participating in hobbies that just energized me. But almost overnight, I stopped all of those activities and made it my sole focus to take care of Mike. As a result, I gained a significant amount of weight. I suffered from depression and anxiety, lost much of my friend group, felt very separated from God, and completely transformed into a shell of myself. Did sacrificing myself make me a better caregiver? To the contrary. Dismissing my own needs meant I had less to give to my husband over time. I was not pouring back into myself, and therefore I had less to pour into him. It showed up in ways I'm not proud to admit. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed. I was bitter that this was the hand we had been dealt, and I couldn't give my husband my best self because crumbs were all I had left to give. Over time, I connected the dots between taking care of my own needs. Remember that putting your oxygen mask on first example? Well, it applies here as well. And I needed to look at how I showed up for my husband day in and day out. What you need to maintain to, to ensure you have a quality of life and feeds your body and your soul is a very personal decision. It's an exercise that you're going to need to do yourself and then put into practice a routine that helps you sustain your overall health and well being. So let's do this. Let's start with emotional health. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you have a healthy way to express yourself? Do you have a trusted friend who you can share your feelings with? You may want to consider a support group, a therapist, or reaching out to an association affiliated with your loved one's disease or illness and meet with other caregivers experiencing some of the same challenges. Remember, there are a number of online communities as well that you can access. Now let's talk about mental health. Do you feel you're able to think clearly, make good decisions for your loved one? Are you able to think through challenging situations with your loved one? Oftentimes, when we get overwhelmed, our mental health is directly impacted. Are you getting enough sleep? Is your nutrition on track? Or have you taken time off and recharged lately? This is where that level two support that we talked about in creating a community can really make a difference relative to your mental health. One of the most neglected areas for caregivers is their physical health. Do you work out on a regular basis? Are you getting enough exercise? Do you take walks? Have you incorporated a little bit of weightlifting into your workouts? Oftentimes, as a loved one's disease progresses, they are more reliant on our ability to help them get around. That can take a toll on the body of a caregiver. Being in shape is a tremendous asset to caregiving. And then, last but certainly not least, your spiritual health. Where does your peace come from? What do you need to do to feel connected to God? One of the first activities to go when a loved one becomes ill is church attendance. Since COVID, online services have become very popular. But also consider some quiet time during your day that includes devotions or meditation or prayer. You recognize when you need to take an extended break. I realized when I took a few days to recharge and reconnect with God and me, I returned a much better caregiver and was able to give my husband my best self. Consider a respite cadence that works for you, and that depends on the scope of your caregiving responsibilities. I was a 24/7 caregiver until Mike went into memory care, and I needed respite at least 1 to 2 days about every 6 weeks. But that can be different for everyone. You need to know yourself well enough to know when your tank is running empty and needs to be refilled. Now, I want you to take your notebook or your journal and reflect on some of the things that we've talked about, and then provide a response to this question. Am I in a routine that takes into consideration all four of the categories we discussed? Your emotional, your mental, your physical, and your spiritual health. And if not, where are the gaps and what do you need to do about it? I recognize that there's no perfect routine or solution. I say that because I often felt I had no options when it came to fitting some of these things into an already busy and stressful schedule. But when I realized that my health started to decline, and that if something happened to me, there would be no one to step in the way that I could and care for him. That's when I knew I needed to change my behavior. And I began to rethink about caregiving and caring for the caregiver. That's the end of this lesson. Congratulations. You have completed lesson 5 in the Caregiver Journey program. Look for the next 5 lessons that will be posted soon. Now, go take on the day.